What's up? I want to be transparent. Um, my grandmother passed away, and since she's passed away, I have been very torn up about it. And so, from like the end of October, because she passed in October, so from the end of October until now, I've been genuinely just trying to heal, trying to pour into my faith, trying to be just trying because it's hard for me to process this. My grandmother was my inspiration for natural medicine, for my want to be a doctor. She was my inspiration for me just like loving this idea and really believing and owning and honing in on this idea of natural medicine and how nature and like the wonders of what God gave us in the beginning, how those translate even now when it comes to sickness, when it comes to health, when it comes to healing, when it comes to all those things. And she was the first person I would call. She was my everything. She raised me as her child, and she was like my mother. So I find myself like learning how to do life without her, and it is so hard. So I know like in this season I'm not the only one. It seems like right now a lot of people that I'm connected to and a lot of people that I've seen, through social media, you know, the holidays bring a harder time because people do pass a lot more in the holidays. And it's a remembrance a lot of times when you're with other family members. You think about the family member that you no longer have and how you would have wanted to spend that time with them. And it's hard for all of us. And I guess like while I'm trying to be better and process everything, I'm not being too hard on myself, and I'm just allowing myself to feel how I feel, and I'm trying to allow myself. I mean, I succeed sometimes, other times I like completely fail, but I'm trying to allow myself to be okay with like going through the motions, because I've been like doing a lot of research on healing, and it's become something that is like the forefront of my life right now, especially because it's a lot for me to lose my grandmother. So yeah, so a lot of my content right now is really just how I feel and what I'm wanting to share and just my journey. And I want you guys there with me because, like we all go through life. Life hits everybody the same. And like, it just, in just me pursuing this degree, this passion, I've just been so privy to like just recognizing that fact, and it's real. So that's where we are. But God is good. I believe in God, and that's one thing that I'm like, as I, you know, accept and process my grandmother passing, it means the most to me to know that she gave me that piece of her, because God is a very vital and necessary. He is the only way, and I'm glad that I know that. So that is my hope in the middle of all this, But yeah, so today's video, I am getting stuff done. I'm planning. But I want to have a conversation with you guys because it's something that I've been journaling about, and yeah, enjoy.
This is an AIDS Rice exclusive.
Self-work also, I feel like. So I might do girls talk. I really seem to like that video.
I just finished journaling, and it was good. Um, every time I start journaling, or while I'm kind of in the middle of journaling, I think about how much journaling really does help me more than I realize, and it makes me want to journal more. So I want to journal even more because this stuff really helps me. Like me personally, just to let it out, just to release it, like just doing it. I honestly, to be honest, I don't know how to explain how exactly it helps, but I just know that when I finish it, I feel like I've done something for myself. It's kind of like when you work out and you just feel like I've done something good for myself, like I'm proud of myself. So I just finished journaling. I'm about to do some meditation, and I want you guys to do meditation with me. I want you to comment if you tried meditation, like this video, if you are even watching my video for the whole healing aspect of it all. Meditation has been something that I'm so, like, this whole thing is so different, but it's so beautiful and it's so new, and I'm so surprised. Like, I never would have thought meditation would be so useful for me because it looks kind of funny. But it's not funny, but it looks funny. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. But I'm about to meditate, so before I close out this video, I want to tell you a story about one of my colleagues from Xavier. I follow her on Instagram. Shout out to her. And I saw this post that she did probably 2 years ago. When I was over I saw this post that she made 2 years ago, and she was like in this phase of her life where she was journaling all the time, like journaling. And she would post on Instagram like her journals and like pages of her like letting it out. And I resonated with that 2 years later. Like at the time, I'm like, I remember being like, wow, she is tapped in. Like, one, I was like, her handwriting is so great. Two, I was like, she's so tapped in. Like, I wish I could write like that to that extent. Like, I feel like I don't have that much to say. And now I feel that. And even though I feel like I can't yet write pages of things, I can definitely like write. Like, I find myself being comfortable just like saying how I feel and just like saying it how Kennedy feels it and not really worrying about what it looks like and like how pretty it is and all that. And I love that for me. And I say that because, you know, you never know your impact on people, and you never know, you don't know what you have done or the things that you're doing that motivate people. There have been times where I've done something minor, or I find out years down the line that something that I thought was very minuscule meant so much to somebody else. Like me just living my life, just surviving through certain situations inspired people in their own situations. And just her, just genuinely posting her journaling and like her, like all her pages of what she's been writing about 2 years later inspires me to like be comfortable to like let it out in that way and like be vulnerable in that way. And you just don't know what you mean to somebody. And I don't know what I mean to people. You know, we judge ourselves so much, and like we feel like we're not enough, we feel like we're too much, like we always like there's always that judgment from other people, and we judge ourselves, and we're just so we just hone in so bad on all the things that are so not good. But what about everything that is so amazing that either we know or we don't know? And you just don't know what you mean to the world. And even though things might not look beautiful now, or things are not what you want now, or things are weird now, like things will not always be weird. And when my grandma was alive, she always told me that. It's one of my favorite quotes by her. Bad times, bad things don't last always, and that's true. And things you have the ability to evolve. You can evolve. We have that right. Like that's our blessing in all of this. And it's just interesting to see myself really like trying to heal because it's so easy not to heal. Most people have healed. Like so much easier to have this facade of having it all together. But the truth is, everybody's going through a process. I'm going through a process. I want to encourage you guys to always be yourself and always be willing to live your truth because you inspire people, whether you're at your lowest or at your highest. You just never know what you mean to people, and I think knowing that and believing that no matter what experience you're in, like what you're going through, your positivity, your willingness, you just trying to live every day, trying to be better, trying to figure out healing, trying to do this, just you trying is people see that and they're motivated by that. And when you think about that, it's a little bit easier to keep going because you know that people benefit from me being here. And I think about my little brother. He's one of the most important people to me. There's been so many days that I give up. There's so many days that I want to give up. There's so many days that I don't give up because of him, And on the days that I do give up on myself and I'm like throwing away the day, I think about him, and I think about like the plans that I have for my little brother and the things that I see God has given my visions for what me and my brother will experience together and what we will have and the things we will do and our relationship and how we love God and how we love ourselves and I can't give up, and that's okay. That's good. It's good to have those motivations. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's what it was. Because I kept saying bad things don't happen or don't last forever. She would say, trouble doesn't last always. Trouble doesn't last always. I'm going to tell you guys the first time that my grandma told me this. And I love my grandma to death. I feel like her quotes set me up in a way to progress even when she's gone because I think about her quotes all the time, like every single moment of the day. I remember the first time I heard that quote, y'all. I used to go to high school in Colorado, and my mom never let me go nowhere. Military brat, like she wasn't having it, like acting like I was a shelf child for sure. I was the definition of a shelf child. And I remember I had asked my mom if I could go somewhere. It was like this one part. I was like, girl, like let me go to this one party. Like at least give you this one. And she was like, no. And I remember my grandma was living with me at the time because my mom had just came back from Iraq. And my grandma had lived with us while my mom was gone in Iraq. So when my mom got back, my grandma just stayed with us in Colorado until I graduated. So she's like, no, you can't go. And I didn't even tell grandma. I remember going to my room and I was crying. And my grandma came in and she was just like giving me a hug. And I'm telling her how, like, I felt like mom was so mean and I wanted to go to this party and she never let me do anything. And, blah, blah, blah. And the first time I heard my grandma say, trouble doesn't last always. And she said, it won't be like this always. I remember her saying it to me. Baby, it won't be like this always. Trouble doesn't last always. It won't be like this forever. And at the time, it was so small. Just thinking about that, like, oh, trouble doesn't last always, and the idea of, eventually I'll grow up and I can do what I want to. I can hang out with my friends when I want to. I'll have those opportunities. And she was right, but now it means so much more to me. Like, even in the lowest of the lowest, even in my mistakes, even in the highest points of my life, no matter what I'm going through, whatever my troubles are or my trauma, it won't last forever. And there have been times after, because I was in high school at that point, and I'm how many years post college am I removed? I graduated college 2017. I'm almost 6 years post college. Huh? That's insane. Anyways, you know, even like between me being in high school to now being 6 years post college, there have been time after time after time after time that I've seen that to be true. And my grandmother was still alive and she was still telling me these things through every experience that I was going through that I just felt like would break me, that I was going to change my life course forever. And it didn't, and it won't, and trouble doesn't last always. And I'm so thankful for that. And now that I'm in this season where I don't have my grandmother anymore, knowing that trouble doesn't last always means everything. Trouble doesn't last always, guys. I promise you that. I promise you that will never would win. You never will win. And trouble does not last. It does not last always. God will always win. Your journey, your path, your passion will always win. Amen.